Thanks for making the trip from Ethiopia.
From little
Ethiopia.
It's not big Ethiopia.
Not the actual
Yeah.
country. Yeah, not the actual country.
What is your
Actually, Ethiopia is I think is it still a it's a territory.
Country.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a country.
It's a country.
Yeah.
God, my sister,
Z's from there. Ruben's wife.
Ruben's wife's from there. My sister lived there for 3 years.
Really?
Well, there's a quick opening right there. Let's jump into Ethiopia.
Yeah. Right. I mean, where else do you start your conversations at? I mean, you must start in Africa. It's poignant.
I jest for everybody that's tuning in and taking a peek at us. Thanks for joining whylab today. Thanks for making the choice to download this episode. I've got a pal over today, Sergio. I've been looking forward to having him over. So again, thank you for making the choice. It means the world to me that you've decided to spend some time with us. And whylab is a safe place that two people can have a face-to-face conversation, unpeel some layers, be admirable about the things that we see in one another, and kind of talk about the things that are important to us right now and our passions, but kind of skip to the being vulnerable. And most important part of whylab to me is the why and the questions and sort of the purpose of the why you do the things that you do. So what I was excited about, I guess, having you over and sharing is kind of extending the conversation we had not even maybe a month or two ago. Must have been at the Friendsgiving.
I think it was at Friendsgiving.
Yeah. And I had saw the video that you did with Ruben. There's another little mention for Ruben. What's up, Ruben? We'll circle back to you. For Beautify Earth,
yes,
which is the organization you're with. So I loved that, where you guys were coming from, and I'd love to unpack that a little bit. But again, for everybody, Sergio is here. I don't know your last name. Is it?
Well, it's Cuculiza.
That's probably why I don't know it.
Yeah, most people don't even try to pronounce it.
I honestly don't know that I've ever.
No, but it's. I mean, well, here's a question for you: how many Sergios do you know?
You.
There you go. Which I mean is ironic, because here in the States, Sergio is uncommon, right? But my family's from Peru, and Sergio is not uncommon there. It's like Michael.
Sir, you're from Peru. I didn't even know that. Here we go. Jumping right in, man. I love this. I already learned multiple things. Why didn't I even know that? Man, we're just always in the moment when we're hanging out.
That's true. Yeah, that happens a lot. And Ruben's from Colombia.
I did know that.
Yeah.
Gosh, Ruben and I go back.
He looks more of he looks like an Aztec warrior, now that they're Colombian. But
Well, Beautify Earth. Let's give the folks a little bit of taste. We've mentioned your partner again already. But that video you guys did was pretty amazing, and I remember trying to be super complimentary that night, because I thought what it exposed was just some goodness, people trying to do good things in the world. And if you take a big step back and look at what 2020's dialing up to be, polarization and division is rampant, and you just spend so much time, and you're very active and passionate about doing good things to the world and providing community-based beautiful experiences for artists and those people living in that community. And it's really, when you sit down and you think about the impact that you have in the world, man, that really hit me. It made me go, man, I know Sergio a little bit better. And so I enjoyed that conversation so much better. And I just wanted to bring you onto whylab and start with that because I don't know, is that full time for you, or do you, what is that, part time? How do you?
Good question.
I don't know. How does that work?
Yeah, I don't either. So I'll put a little bit of perspective to it. So you've already mentioned Ruben Rojas, and I consider him a close brother.
Yeah.
Him and Evan Meyer, between the three of us, we helped found Beautify Earth. There were a couple other founding members at the time, but we founded as a movement, and it wasn't even about painting or doing art. Beautify Earth was purely about creating enough movement and some sort of unity to all the friction and the chaos that you were seeing. And we thought that art was a form of solution to doing that. And we saw so much opportunity in finding not only blighted walls, but blighted environments that were just forgotten. And I mean, we started in Santa Monica, right? Not the worst place in the world.
Well, it's sunny.
Right? It's sunny. But at the same time, the irony of it all was that there were awful walls in Santa Monica. And if you are going to find, you'll find issues everywhere, right? But it kind of started really bringing up the point of this issue is a rampant issue, because if it can happen in areas such as Santa Monica, well, hell, it happens everywhere. Yeah. There are ugly, forgotten urban walls, urban spaces, and people that are just forgotten everywhere. And we just brought that upon ourselves and brought our community to start doing something about it. And so art just happened to be a format of doing so.
And so what's the other cat's name that you're working? You named him
Evan Meyer.
Evan Meyer.
Yes.
Is he an artist, or does he have any other?
So funny enough, actually, both Evan and Ruben have been artists. I'd say most of their life, but they only recently started getting more into it as they got into the medium of it, and they found the joy and the excitement of it. And that's the other big part of it too, is there are millions of artists in the world that need a canvas. Yeah. Well, guess what? There are trillions upon trillions of walls. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we need all of them to be able to brighten up spaces.
And if there's a good foundation and there's good framing and there's something going on that's lively in that building, beautifying the outside of it is very important.
Exactly.
Than just kind of throwing something up there that's not, that doesn't mean anything. Again, man, the video tells a really great story. So whoever produced the video, well done, bro. So, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. But I mean, what I thought was very impactful, and this hits home for me because one of my best friends, if not my best friend and brother, Jason Pauly out of Oklahoma City. You mentioned where I was from Oklahoma originally. I think you knew that a little bit. My mom's in town now, so we spoke about it. But my best friend is a muralist in Oklahoma City, and he's been doing that now for about a decade. And kind of has to go back. He goes through the city, does the permits, kind of similar to what you guys probably have to go through. However, I know his struggle is that he's a one-man show. And he does this. He'll get some friends to come down every now and then, but he's a one-man show, one stuff. In comparison, what I really loved about the video was how you guys really thought outside the box. Not that he doesn't, but just like that's his thing. You were like, hey, man, we can include that person, but we can also include the community, people that have other ideas. And that video, again, tells a really great story about how you guys, Beautify Earth, go into a community in a city. And I'd love to kind of hear how you select those and how you even go in and find the people to do that. That just is like, it's like building an army, you know, like here we are, we're going to do some stuff together. Like, how do you go about civically?
Good question. It's not a single part answer, and probably not even a one answer type. It's not a single part answer, and it definitely has an array of reasons why it occurs the way it does. A lot of it is purely organic. Some of it is obviously planned and whatnot, but it is organic. And to take a step back real quick, we started with the concept of wanting to paint a canvas, wanting to paint an urban environment and bring some light and beauty to it. And we did so with community. We quickly started realizing that we wanted to do it at a monumental scale, right?
Well,
one that would go way past changing Santa Monica, one that would start changing Los Angeles, one that would start changing California, one that would start changing the United States, one that, it would start changing the world. We're called Beautify Earth. Not Beautify one street.
Beautify one street.
Yeah.
That's our mission.
Check.
Every
done.
wall on ours. That's just massive. Like, for anybody that's out there, it's like, that's a huge goal, bro.
Well, and that's why I think when we initially started, we founded it as a mission and not the idea that Beautify Earth was meant to be one entity. It was meant to take on a feeling, a passion. So much to the point that people like your friend, who's a muralist in Oklahoma, right? Yeah. We need those people, and we need to, and we want to make that process better and easier. And in fact, we have, because I don't know if you're
obviously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so through the through the organization, through the nonprofit, we have found a way to engage community. We have found a way to bring light to this, as are other companies out there, right? But we started doing one thing a little differently, and now we actually have I don't know if we're the parent or they're the parent, but there's a parent company now that is a for-profit, for-purpose, that created a platform, a mural platform, a marketplace, mind you, that actually makes the process of not only getting a mural, but being able to put up a mural and completing a mural a lot easier and better and faster.
Okay, well, you're going to have to repeat that again because that's important.
Yes, well, and that's
that's the name of that organization again.
So that's Beautify.
Oh,
right?
Okay, that's still part of you guys.
Yes, it's we're a conjoined family. Normally,
awesome.
whereas you would see a company start a foundation,
Yeah.
right, because they found a passion or a reason to do so, we did the opposite. We founded a foundation, we founded a passion, and we birthed a company.
Build a team. Right?
Yes,
awesome.
and purely the goal. I mean, this is the easiest way I can rationalize the thought.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in existence for almost 6 years. I think actually maybe even a little more if you consider us in existence before, officially being a nonprofit. And in that time, we have wanted to paint millions of walls. We've painted over 1,000.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
But it ain't it. It's not what, we were going for.
Uh-huh.
We are going for millions of walls.
Wow.
In fact, at one point that was our slogan. We wanted to paint 1 million walls.
1 million.
But then we're like, well, is that too little? At the same time, we're also like, is that too much? So to the rational, like it's
we
like,
hit 1 million. Let's do 2 million. Let's change the motto.
1,000,001.
Yeah,
No. But we've completed all these walls in that amount of time, and that's great. Like that's phenomenal. But again, it's just not enough. And we had to find a way to think outside the box to be able to do that, to be able to bring friends, from outside the state, to be able to bring other muralists, to bring other companies that can come together now and use a platform that makes it better and easier and more available to then reach and blow out that goal, actually. Just
That's awesome.
Blow it out the sky.
They help you guys when you're going into the places and pick the places. Do they have a network that you can utilize as well? Or?
So I mean, it's our network. We had a couple other tech entrepreneurs that came on board, and basically what they did was they helped build the tech platform, which created the marketplace.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
And we work 100% in unison. So essentially, what the marketplace has allowed us to do is to be able to go into other urban environments, even locally or externally, right, and quickly find wall opportunities, quickly align with artists, and quickly give both of them opportunities both to paint and to have a mural.
Because that could be a pain in the butt. And
it's humongous.
Yeah, and a lot of killer time. You guys want to focus on the project.
Yeah. And not everyone has a friend like you who's a muralist. So they're like,
find them.
Where do I find a muralist? There's not like a website called muralist.com.
It's interesting.
Watch, like now after this there will be. But
I think you just came up with an idea.
Right? Like,
there probably is. Hey Siri, is there a Are you listening?
Probably.
Probably. Oh God.
It's okay. This is good. I want her to listen to this part. Maybe
Sorry.
Spread
get
beauty.
Ads.
Hey Siri, spread beauty. There you go. All right.
Muralist.com.
Yeah.
Man, that's just you definitely. I mean, you can tell that you're passionate about this. Is that something you did? Have you always been like that growing up? Like, do you have your artist side that you've like? I know you seem like you have like the big picture. You're really passionate about getting people involved. Do you come from? Do you paint? Are you a musician? Do you any artist stuff?
It's really funny, and I have some of my friends hate me for thinking this way. I went to art and design school. I went to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design for college.
Okay.
I did paint. I have drawn most of my life. I don't consider myself an artist, and I don't say that in a negative or a positive way. Actually, I literally mean that there. To me, there is a format in how some people think when they design, and there's a format to some people think when they art, right? And a lot of times they do
when they art.
Yeah, when they art. Well, I mean, like
I love that how you use it when they design or when they art.
Yeah.
Okay, define that. Yeah, that's great.
And just a little bit of it has to do with purpose or intent, and some of it has to do with the imaginative mind. To me, an artist can create with nothing in their mind. They are a blank canvas, right? Whereas a designer is thinking about things that are driving a design or a motion forward. Right. So whereas they are very intertwined, and again, this is purely my opinion. This is not science. Great. This is nothing.
This is great.
But it's just, and artists typically do have a lot, driving their thought and their inspiration. But what I admire about them, which is why a big reason why I don't call myself an artist, is that I can't just come up with something off the tip of my tongue. Like there has to be influence. There has to be a purpose almost for me. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't consider myself an artist. I consider myself a designer. I definitely have, there's definitely a meld between the two. And I think they're more unified than I'm leading on to, than I'm leading on.
Well,
but
this is a good time for us to do a quick pause then for all those listeners out there. There, the camera shut down.
All these artists hate me right now.
This is great though.
I don't know who would hate me now.
Who would hate you? But that is such an intriguing comment. Design versus art and the way you just described it. So we'll take a short break. We'll switch out some batteries and we'll come back with Sergio and the whylab podcast. Thanks for sticking around. So let's jump back in. Thanks for coming back. This is the back half of whylab. Got Sergio here with us. Man, he just made a really interesting comment that wanted to jump back into. And my take on it was that you said, you weren't an artist even though you went to art school. But B was that you define your definition of an artist is that somebody that could just kind of jump into their flow and create art without having too much time or effort with imagination or design. And somebody that does design has a lot of planning and maybe more cognitive. But explain that a little more, because that just seemed so poignant when you said it, and then you were laughing. You threw yourself under the bus, and I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Why is that defined like that?
I mean, it's defined like that to myself. I mean, I've read into that a little bit more when I was in college, and a little context to that was I studied architecture, and in fact, that is what I do as my day job. I'm an architect.
Okay.
So maybe refines the that concept a little. Why I think that way.
That's the answer we all do. That's the halftime answer, everybody.
Yeah, there you go. There's a reason he thinks this way.
Well, that makes a little bit more sense too, because you've defined yourself and your art, and it sounds like I could be presuming this, but it sounds like you take your architecture design somewhat as art, but you like to separate those two a little bit. Would that be fair to say?
That's pretty fair to say. I mean, I'm not one who thinks that design and art don't coexist. They very much do, and in fact, they tend to be more of a gray area together, or which is which, right? Than the idea that they are separate. I just I like having a line drawn at times where something can just be simplified, because we as humans love complexity and love adding a layer or two to something, and sometimes I'm like,
no way,
we don't have to.
So I guess my question now would be, is it like when you guys as Beautify Earth go into a community and you bring all these people together and muralists and artists, and you stand back and you look at the final picture of the wall, whatever that may be, do you can you define that feeling of happiness? But B, is it more of the beauty of the art, or look what we did to this wall, look all the process of it?
It's everything.
It's everything.
And then some. So obviously Beautify Earth, the nonprofit, is still very much in existence, and what we tend to do now is focus our efforts on the more blighted communities, the areas that don't get as much support. And one of them is a kind of a no-brainer that you would hesitate to think you didn't understand is schools, education, right? I'm originally from South Florida.
Yeah.
I'm not from LA. I moved out here thinking that art, design, creativity galore, right?
Galore.
And it is.
Yeah, it is.
But you would think that schools would be a great representation of that.
Not out here, really.
No,
they're
not in any way. It's sad, because there are so many amazing people that care, and there are so many people that teach, and so many amazing students that learn. So, and here and in other states included, and it's just been a forgotten identity.
Yeah, yay to the teachers.
Yes. Tremendously.
Teachers and nurses.
Yeah. Ask most people if they can teach, and they're going to say no. There's a reason for that. It's hard.
Dealing with humans.
Yeah, and then so let me add this complexity to it. What if you're in an uninspiring, unimaginative location now? What if you're in a gray school, which most look like nowadays, with chain link fences everywhere? Yeah. And I mean, there's necessities for everything. I'm not saying that, but is there a necessity to choose gray as your go-to color in almost every school? I almost guarantee everyone can probably name me a school that's almost entirely gray. Yeah, I'd be pretty sure I'd be right. And
if you took a test from the kids, you're like, are you happier in a gray school or a colorful school? Oh, the colorful school. Do you want to play in the what playground would you prefer to be in?
Right?
Are you happier there?
In a world that's argumentative, I dare you to make an argument towards that. Like how? Like, I'm frowning, therefore I'm learning more. I am looking at my phone, therefore I'm learning more. I am disengaged. And I mean, there's been a lot of studies that art and design have created more engaging, thoughtful environments. I mean, like, look, coming from an architect in this, somewhere between the 60s and the 80s, there was a huge movement in schools, and there was like, we should, get rid of natural light in schools, right? Like HVAC, keep them cool. We don't have to overlight them. We can pack schools, and then they'll learn more, right? More information means more learning. No, this is not how it works, right? And now you've seen a huge movement towards the exact opposite, the antithesis of that, basically bringing back natural lighting, bringing back like daylight and illuminance and beautification. Because guess what? There are studies that show that students learn better in those environments.
Yeah.
No duh.
Yeah. No duh.
It's like sometimes, again, like it's come back to simplicity thing.
Yeah.
Like don't overcomplicate a situation. Sometimes a thing just is what it is.
We're humans. We love to do that. We have civil organizations and we all vote.
And that's when I tell them go pick up a paintbrush and be complicated. Yeah. You won't hurt anyone with that.
Well, so what's next for Beautify Earth? Like if I asked you what are you guys doing in February? We're just getting into February, first week. What's going on this month with Beautify Earth?
Good question. So I am the executive director for the foundation, and we've made a big focus on education. In fact, because we started in Santa Monica, we have dedicated this year to finish the schools that we have not yet painted in Santa Monica and get them all painted by the end of the year.
How many is that?
That's surprisingly only 8. Oh, no, I actually already know.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, that's what an executive director is supposed to know, Sergio. Yeah. So 8 schools left on the west side, Santa Monica.
Yep.
That you have not been into.
That we have not gone in and painted with. So the goal is, and I'm sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. When we do go to the schools and we paint at the schools, similar to what we did with communities, we paint with the students.
Yeah, of course.
So, and there's an added component to that. We still bring a professional artist. Professional artist designs. They get paid.
Yeah.
They make a beautiful design, and the kids come out there for a paint day, and they participate in the painting of that mural. Now, they are not participating in the beginning to the end. There's been a few occasions where that overlaps if some students request it, but the reason why, and I'm not against it, just the reason why I want to focus on that is that the professional artist comes back and the professional artist finishes the painting.
Yeah.
And I'm hinting on the word professional because there's a reason why they're a professional.
Yeah.
Right? It took effort, it took time, it took labor, right? It took mastering. Yeah. And that's something that we want to teach the students.
Yep.
And the only way you teach students that is, well, there's a few ways, but one of the ways is through showing, right? Through showcasing it. Through action, exactly. Yeah. And that's what we do with the artists. When they go back out there, when they were a part of the painting, they feel very proud of it. I mean, I've heard some like just drop dead, like you're like, oh, that was powerful, like stuff from these kids. Like one of these kids, I remember in a school, I think it was in Inglewood. Mm-hmm. They came up to us and they were like saying, thank you. And I was like, oh, you're most welcome. Like, thank you for having us. And he's like, no. Thank you. Because before this, it was miserable here. Yeah. And they obviously weren't talking about the teachers or anything like that. Just they were talking about the environment.
Yeah.
And when everything is bars and gray and just dilapidation, what else are you going to feel?
Oh,
it's human.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that that really, starts hitting you. And
Yeah.
so we have a goal of finishing all the schools in Santa Monica. I have a personal goal of painting an entire school,
Wow.
like, and not over like 10 years. I mean, like in a weekend or a couple of weekends.
Wow.
It'd probably take a month, but uh,
And then spread out, just move
keep going.
as far as possible. So
Yeah.
here's another question then. It seems like the impact you guys have in communities and schools, your focus on education this year. How does someone that has a design or is an artist that wants to get involved with Beautify Earth, how could they submit or find you guys online so that they could try to share their vision, art, design with you and the others?
Great question. Great plug.
Yeah.
Really easy. Beautifyearth.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You there.
Hear that, kids? Beautifyearth.com for all you artists out there that have cool designs. And
Yeah.
so did they get involved early from the get-go and in regards to getting with the community as much as they want to, I guess?
So yeah, that's a mix. That does depend on, where we have people. Now the good thing is that we've had people contact us. Like we've done paint days that neither myself, Ruben, or Evan, so neither of the founders were present at in in Vermont.
Oh, sweet.
In San
But that's the
Diego.
mission.
Exactly.
That is the mission, brother.
Exactly. And that was actually funny enough. That was very early on in our existence and something that just kind of started happening. Like we started creating satellites out of just people finding us, pure passion. And our goal is to get back to that and to find a way to harness that, because there are so many people out there that do want to make a change, and artists are some of them. Right, artists have signed up and led this and led teams such as this. And what we want to make happen, which is why I want to point them to our site so that they can sign up, is that we're almost creating like an artist portfolio website.
Yeah.
Right, like a site that people can find artists, because like it seems like such a no-brainer.
Muralist.com. Yeah,
Right.
hopefully we didn't check that at halftime.
Oh yeah, no, don't go there. Beautifyearth.com.
Well, luckily we own all this. Before this is going right into my computer, bro. Oh man, this is hilarious. Well, let's also, because Ruben's name's come up a couple times, and I know he's an important part of, as well as all three of you all. Man, I met Ruben back in 2011, 12. He CrossFit. So he was on the CrossFit regional team at my gym and was dating one of the coaches. And so I remember going to competition and watching Ruben. And so he, we had common friends, and I would see him all the time at the gym. I think at one point even I had talked to him about some financial advisor stuff, because he does that.
Yeah.
And so over the last, got to 2020. So over the last 8 years, he's morphed into bringing this artist out of himself way more than when I first met him. And so it's been really cool to see that kind of change through our social media connection. Mm-hmm. And then whenever the circle got closer with Maria and you, and I'm like, Ruben, you guys, you mean like Ruben? And so it's just kind of interesting. And that's why I wanted to ask, like, how did you guys meet each other? And 6 years now for Beautify Earth, did that come from one of you three, or how did that just pop up?
Yeah.
How did you guys meet each other?
Good question, and very serendipitous. So I originally worked for an architecture firm called Corgan Associates, and they were based out of Texas. We had an office here in LA. Yeah. We had multiple offices across the United States. Long story short, met one of the guys from New York, and we hit it off. I remember murals have always been a thing to me. I'm from South Florida. Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of Wynwood in Miami, but it's the art mural mecca of the United States, if not the world. Cool. And it's amazing. I mean, it's walls upon walls upon walls that are just covered in art. It's my perfect world.
So you like going back?
Yes, and I go back all the time. It's great. So, and that was a big inspiration for Beautify Earth. I'm sure that was a big inspiration for many murals companies or muralists as themselves. And to touch on that a little bit before I go into how let's go in. So I met Evan through my friend, who was also an architect. Okay. And we hit it off instantly. And what we believed in our organization was that you want to be part of our organization, go do something. You know, it was as simple as that. Like, we don't really care what you do. We just care that you go do something.
You can
like,
take action.
Yeah, I don't want to hold your hand. I don't want to, like, you know, you wanted to take action. Take action.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did. I painted a wall. Painted a mural. It's definitely not up anymore. But I think it got tagged like 2 weeks later. it was
Great
not
area, good
primo
spot.
work.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, the point was that we started doing that. And actually, funny enough, from that exact motivation came the education program, which was us painting at schools.
Yeah.
And it started with us painting with, or not even painting, but drawing with kids on the beach. And that's the story for another time. But you know, so that's how we met. And then I met Ruben, who, Evan Meyer really founded the concept, but he founded the company with his, you know, with his community, with his inner community, which at the time was it still is very strong community. Yeah. And Ruben was one of the co-founders.
Awesome.
And you're right. Ruben is and was a financial advisor. Yeah. And then he found it in the depths of his soul, and he was like, this ain't for me, and I'm an artist.
Yeah.
And he always had painted.
Yeah.
He just had never expressed it.
Yeah.
And he slowly started coming out of his shell, and he started painting, and then he started painting for himself, then he started painting walls, and now he paints commissions. And he's not the only story that we have, too. Like, it's the most poignant one because he started internally, obviously, but, you know, we've led to the beginning of a lot of artists. And the reason I want to focus on that is that there are, and like it's a big field, right? Yeah. The art field, the mural field, whatever it is, it's big, but it's quaint. And there are people who don't think that, like, for example, like companies such as ours are beneficial to the process.
Interesting.
Which I can understand why someone would think that, but I don't think they get to see what we get to see.
Yeah.
Which is the birthing of artists, which is the teaching and the nurturing. Because I can tell you right now, having been to art school, they don't teach you business. They don't teach you how to file your taxes. They don't, and the boring stuff.
For all
right?
the kids out there, that's another good point. Take notes on that one.
Yes, do that.
Art school kids.
Schools do that. That would be great.
Yeah.
They don't teach you how to balance your budgets. They don't teach you how to go out and ask for a budget.
Real world practical stuff isn't necessarily part of the curriculum.
It's not.
Most curriculum.
It's not. And it could literally just be called that, real world personal stuff. And that'd be like 101.
Paying bills, having to, your phone got shut off because you forgot to pay your credit card fraud. It's, you forgot to update your credit card.
All this stuff. And we've prided ourselves in nurturing artists. And also, we've learned from them as much as they've learned from us. Like, the reason we created a platform was so more artists can do what they do.
And they don't have to learn business, because guess what? It's you can look at it twofold. It's like, you're not taught business, so you have to go find it, learn it on your own. No, you don't. You just need to find the right people to help you.
Exactly.
That's Beautify Earth.
Yes.
It's great, man. I think that, what you guys do, again, it comes back to big picture stuff, trying to do good things in the world and things that you're passionate about, which you obviously are. Last thing we didn't really touch base on is family kind of stuff. Do you have sisters, brothers, anything like that?
I have one sister who actually just moved to Southern California. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. She's
from Miami or from?
So we're from Fort Lauderdale, which is just north of Miami, like 35 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
And then that's where my parents live.
Oh, okay.
So and most of my family, half my family's there, half my family is in Peru, and then there's like a little, I know it doesn't add to 100%, whatever. There's like a little fraction that are all over the world.
There's half here, half there, and then there's some other people that fit in.
Yeah, everyone has 110% family because you don't know what you don't know where the 10% are. Like, they always like come out of nowhere, and you're like, who are they? You're like, oh.
So is she older or younger?
She's younger.
She's younger by how many years?
3.
3. That's the same for me. My sister's just shy of 3.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So we're super close, actually.
Yeah, we are too. She's my best friend.
She actually used to paint too.
Really?
Yeah, she was pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What did she go to school for?
She went to school for nursing.
Nursing.
Is and now she does medical sales. So.
Oh, I spent 14 years doing medical device sales.
Hey.
What kind of medical sales is she in?
She literally sells doctors.
Oh, she links doctors up with
I
like
mean, yeah, she doesn't like
hospitals
package them and like, send them in the mail, but she like sells their services
Yeah.
and helps market them. So
Yeah.
basically help market doctors. She just started doing that actually, but cool stuff.
Well, it's an amazing market. Like again, like the LA market is fifth largest economy in the world, Southern California. I spent 14 years out here in medical device. So it was great, really great career for me. As anybody that's listening to this podcast or that knows me personally, that's part of my journey here is taking some time away from it. But a lot of love for the healthcare community out here in Los Angeles. Tremendous amount of humans to take care of. Oh my god!
And it's so difficult. Like, so I think like my grandfather in Peru was a doctor. In fact, he rose pretty high for what he did. And there's been a lot of like nurturing and like caring people like in my family, but then like I can't look at blood.
Oh, so you didn't get that gene.
No.
Like, I'm an architect. We do murals.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I'll paint.
That's great. So I guess, do you still find a little bit of artist in your life every now and then that you catch yourself doing some art
For sure.
over design?
It's funny, like when I can't think of what I want in my, in my own space, in my, my apartment, like I'm like, I'll just doodle something. And normally it's not doodling, but like I'll spray out like a stencil, or I'll create something. Like typically I won't go out and buy something unless it's an artist or something like that I know. I'll just go out and create something until I can fill that space with something else. It's kind of how
To fill the space. Why do you think you like to fill the space?
Well, I hate emptiness, but like, and that's just, whatever in me.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I love creating. Like I'm a big creator. Everything that I've done and everything that we've done internally in Beautify, and also like in my personal life, has just been purely about creation. Like it inspires me. I love being around creators. I love being around people that just have that switch.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's motivational, and it's also it's just fun.
Well, you're somebody that every time I know I'm around you, whether it's at Joshua Tree camping or on the beach doing volunteer work or somebody's birthday party, your energy is always amazing. You're super fun.
Thank you.
You're hard not to just laugh. There's always going to be some good times, and I'm really grateful that you decided to come by and share some of your passion today. You can't not sit here or see or listen to this and catch how much this means to you. So thanks for coming and sharing Beautify Earth.
Thank you. It's very humbling to just not only be share that, but to share space with amazing people.
Man, you're doing good stuff. What I like to do at the end of my podcast is called the Final Four. I may have asked questions throughout, but this is a little rapid fire. So one question, one sentence or one word or less, and we'll see how it goes. So question number one, Sergio, what is the least expensive thing you couldn't do without?
Oof. Well, that's hard. The least expensive. I mean, I don't really have like a high budget for like fun. Honestly, like I would skip outside and I'd be happy. My dog, she's not that inexpensive.
Dogs can be expensive, but yeah. First thing off the top of your head.
Human smile.
Smile?
Yeah, human smiles.
Human
I don't know.
smile.
I don't have a good answer to that one.
That's a great answer. Smiles are free.
Yeah. Well, you could pay for a smile, I guess, but no one's doing that.
Well, we could keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Okay, second question. What do you think makes a person most attractive? And how do you rank on that scale?
Their energy. I would think high.
I literally just gave you that
comment. Yeah.
I read that question. I was like, man, I think I know the answer to that. That's great. Yeah, you're super high energy. I definitely would agree with you on that. That's awesome. Easy answer. Question number 3. If you had to pick either of your family, parents, sister, to name your first child, who would it be?
Like name after their name?
No, they get to name your first child, and you have to pick one of your
Definitely
family.
not my dad. Because I'm Sergio Miguel, but I would have been Sergio the Third had he had to say. So definitely not him. So I'll have to go with my mom. Like,
Sweet.
She gave me the hyphenated name to not be the third. Yeah.
Okay, Mom gets to name the first show. That's great.
That's her credit for doing that. Thank you, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Okay, so last question. Awesome. Last question is, what is the last thing that you lied about?
Maybe how much I like someone's art.
That's a really honest answer. It's probably true. I mean, we all protect ourselves in ways, and I'm sure you were trying to make somebody feel good. It doesn't mean it was bad. No. That's great. It's an honest answer. That's a perfect way to end the podcast today for anybody that heard the camera shut off again. So it's telling us the podcast is over.
We are done.
Yeah, this has been awesome, bro. I honestly,
I really do mean
it's
that.
cool catching up with you and spending time with you. Every time we get to spend time together, it's super fun. So I really appreciate you placating me in my little space here.
Yeah, you still owe me a downtown visit.
I do. I definitely do. So now I got it on my camera still open. So
on video now.
So everybody that's still with us.
Shall we see the video?
Yeah, we will. Thanks for tuning in to whylab today, Sergio and I. A lot of